All right, let's get right into it. On September 26, 2025, EASA issued Airworthiness Directive 25-152. Now, this is a mandatory safety update for the Fokker F27 fleet. In this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what this directive requires so your maintenance, engineering, and management teams can make sure you stay compliant. So, here's how we're going to tackle this. We'll start with a quick overview of the directive, then dig into the why, the safety risks involved. We'll pinpoint exactly which aircraft are affected, walk through the required actions and timelines, and wrap up with a clear summary and your next steps. Okay, first up, let's get to the bottom of what this new AD is really all about. What is the core mandate here? The heart of this entire directive. Really, it all comes down to the mandatory incorporation of the revised Airworthiness Limitations Section, or ALS. We're talking specifically about Fokker Services Report SE 622, Issue 17. This is the document that lays out all the updated life limits and structural inspection requirements. And this is a really important point. This new directive isn't just a minor tweak or an amendment. It completely supersedes the previous AD from back in April 2025. What that means for you is that new, updated, and in some cases, much more restrictive requirements are now in effect. So, that brings us to the big question. Why? Why was this update necessary? What's the reason behind this directive? Well, the reason is pretty straightforward. Fokker Services reevaluated the airworthiness limitations for the F-27, and they identified a risk. This update is all about addressing that risk to ensure the continued structural integrity of the aircraft. It's that simple. And you don't have to take my word for it. The directive itself puts it in no uncertain terms, stating that failure to accomplish these instructions could result in an unsafe condition. EASA has made it crystal clear that non-compliance could directly compromise flight safety. And just to be clear, this revised ALS is a big deal. It introduces entirely new maintenance tasks, and on top of that, it implements more restrictive limitations, like reducing the thresholds for inspections you're already doing. These aren't suggestions, they are absolutely mandatory for continued airworthiness. All right, so who does this actually apply to? Let's get very specific about which aircraft are impacted by this directive. The scope here is, well, it's broad and unambiguous. This AD applies to all Fokker F27 aircraft for the Mark 050, 052, and 064 models. And the key phrase to focus on is all serial numbers. So if you operate any of these models, this directive applies to you, period. Okay, this brings us to what is probably the most critical section, especially for anyone in camo, planning, or maintenance teams. Let's talk about the specific actions required and, just as importantly, the deadlines for getting them done. The directive lays out a clear 4-step game plan for compliance. You've got to replace any life-limited parts according to the new ALS, perform all the required maintenance tasks, correct any discrepancies you find along the way, and, this is a big one, revise your aircraft maintenance program, your AMP. And here are the deadlines. This is where the rubber meets the road. The physical work, replacing parts and doing the tasks, that's all tied to the specific thresholds in the new ALS. So for planning teams, that means you need to be reviewing your maintenance schedules like yesterday. But the hard administrative deadline is the revision of your AMP. That has to be completed within 12 months of the AD's effective date. Okay, let's pull all of this together. We'll summarize the essential information and define the immediate next steps you should be taking for compliance. So here's the bottom line. The new directive is 25152. It's a fleet-wide mandate for all specified F-27 models. The central action item for everyone is to get the new ALS, Issue 17, fully integrated into your operations. And from a paperwork standpoint, the most pressing deadline is that 12-month window to get your aircraft maintenance program formally updated. And that really boils it all down to one single critical question that every operator needs to answer right now to ensure both safety and compliance. Is your aircraft maintenance program scheduled for this mandatory update? Look, ensuring full compliance by the stated deadlines is mandatory. We strongly advise you to coordinate immediately with all your relevant teams, from camo and planning to maintenance and commercial, to get this done. And of course, for all the complete technical details, always refer back to the official EASA AD and that Fokker Services Report SE 622.